next set of videos, we're going to look at Introduction to 3D Modeling. The software that we're going to be using is called Maya, and it's created by a company called Autodesk. You can sign up for a free student account via the link. I will put that in the description, and you can use this. So let's get started. So what is a polygon? Well, a polygon is commonly called a face and is defined as the area bounded by 3 or more vertices and their associated edges. When many faces are connected together, they create a network of faces called a polygon mesh. Now, what I've just said, probably 3 words that you've never heard before. So, what is a vertice? Well, a vertice is a plural of a vertex and is a point in 3D space which stores most of the rendering information for a game model. Now, an edge is a line that is drawn between those 2 points, so between one vertice and the other. Now, if I show you this diagram, which I drew out earlier, you can see that we have 3 points, 3 vertices, 1, 2, 3, and then in between these 3 vertices we have edges, which then make up this face here, and then this is a triangle. Now, in 3D we work in triangles and quads. Preferably it's better to work in quads than triangles, and I'll explain a bit more about triangles in a minute. So if I show you this diagram, we can see how many sides we normally work with, so it's either 3 or 4 sides. If it's any more than 4-sided, the game engine is going to find it difficult to draw out the triangles. Okay, so inside of a quad, there is 2 triangles, and the game engine would split it from here to here. But here it can't, so what we would have to do is, and I'll just quickly grab a pen a minute, is we'd have to draw, we'd have to connect this point, this vertice to this vertice, so it would make a triangle and a quad. And that is why we don't use n-gons. So for this, the game engine would draw from here to here, so you'd have 2 triangles. So this is your face, this is your edge, and this is your vertices. So single one is vertice, and the rest of them are vertex. So let's jump into Maya and look at this in practice. So when most game artists are talking about their models, they mention a term called Polygon Count or Poly Limit. Now, this refers to how many triangles are inside of your mesh, 3D mesh. Now, remember that polygon models are composed of many separate polygons combined into a polygon mesh. And each mesh that you build for a game will have a polygon limit. The reason why artists say polygon, they actually are meaning your triangle count. And the reason why it's called a triangle count is because triangles are used in games, not polygons, because most of the modern graphic hardware is built to accelerate the rendering of triangles. So if you hear an artist say, oh, what's your polygon limit? It refers to how many tries that are inside your model. Now we can see up here in the top left, there is a lot of zeros, but we have verts, edges, faces, tries, and UVs, and this tells me how many of each one of these is in my scene. Now if you can't see this, you can go up to display, heads up display, and click Polygon. Always have this on. Never leave it off. I always keep it on. So if you go up to this primitive here, this square, and if we scale this up, so 50, 50, 50, you can now see this. I'm just going to make sure it's sitting on the grid properly. Now, this is your box. Okay. Inside of this box, you have your vertices. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I highlight over them, you can see at the top it tells me there are 8 vertices. There's 6 faces. And what we're going to do is, so you would have 12 tries in here. Okay, so you don't count the faces, you don't count the edges, you don't count the verts for the polygon limit. You count the tries. Now, if I show you, for example, we can actually triangulate this and see how the engine would actually triangulate this. And you can see that there's 12 edges, but there's now 12 faces. So this is how the game engine recognizes this. There's 1 face, 2, 3, 4, so 6. Okay, and now there's 12. So on the original square, cube, there's 6. Once the game engine triangulates it, there's 12. So that's why we have a 12 try count. And that is what your polygon limit, polygon budget, polygon limit, polygon cost, however you want to say it, it all means tries. Okay. In the next video, we're going to look at the Maya UI, as well as the outliner, grid setups, Maya movements, snapping tools, and object selections. So I'll see you in the next video.